Good morning, good day, good afternoon, and thank you for joining us. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is Donna Mitchell and Pivoting to Web3 podcast, and today we have Angelé D for Disruptor DAO, who's the spearhead of innovation. Not only the spearhead of innovation, but she is the disruptor that connects the community-based organizations with those very important private and public agencies. I'm not even going to continue to talk about this. I'm going to let her introduce herself because she's a dynamic woman who has a lot to offer in today's paradigm shift and environment on global initiatives and local initiatives as well. So, Angelé, I'm going to turn it over to you. Welcome to Pivoting to Web3 podcast because you have done more than just pivot. Take it away, my dear.
Oh, Donna, I thank you. I'm so grateful and energized to be with you and to have this time with you, especially as we're talking about pivoting, right? We as in the collective, we are in such a great state of pivot, transition, transforming right now. And this is such an incredible time to be in the flow of this work and in this space. And so I'm just very thankful and excited. I'll share a little bit about my background in that and the pivot that and the shift that I'm, charting forth. And that I come from a background of working in national nonprofit organizations. I've worked in the public sector as well as the private sector, particularly on issues that affect small and diverse communities, find strategies to support local economic development. And in all of those spaces, I really found the need to create a real tangible impact, right? And so in working at national nonprofits, as well as public sector entities, I felt very disconnected from the people. And so my pivot was that, in being in these spaces where I thought that change was made, working in the public sector in governance, where like corporate governance and working with corporate entities who have a mission, they're saying they have a mission to give back. I really became quite disheartened, I should say, with the lack of real impact that was being made. And so
was it a lot of window dressing? Did you see a lot of window dressing? That's what I used to call it in the old days.
Yes.
A lot of window dressing.
A lot of check boxes. They were just checking off boxes. I'm just like, so nothing.
I got you.
This is the people. And I'm really, really passionate about creating sustainable change for my people, for our tribe. And so being in this time and space where we are, shifting in technologies, we're shifting in commerce, we're shifting in how we do business and how we engage with one another through digital platforms and such. And the world is becoming smaller, right? We can do business 24 hours a day. We can talk to people on the other side of the globe in moments. Whereas, a decade before now, that was not possible, right? And so being in this space and time has provided us with an incredible opportunity to work together, to build together, to cooperate and to build cooperative ecosystems together. And so it led me to, I kind of attracted a tribe of phenomenal women. These are the most awesome women I could ever dream about. And we formed Disruptor DAO. And so, yes, I'm very excited about our DAO. And I approach this from the vantage point of, I see DAOs as the evolution of cooperative practice. And so, many of us, we may be familiar.
Before you go any further, explain to our audience what a DAO is. What is a DAO?
Just getting to that. So a DAO is a decentralized autonomous organization. Okay. And so, and how I talk about this in that, some of us are familiar with co-ops, right? Like we know about housing co-ops, farm co-ops, those type of cooperative ecosystems where it's essentially an association of people who come together around a common good and for the common purpose of creating economic, social, and cultural solutions together, right? And those cooperative ecosystems are jointly owned and governed by the members of the cooperative, right? And so that's what a traditional cooperative is. Like, many of us have heard of those throughout time, and we've operated in cooperative ecosystems well before capitalism, right? And so now this day and age presents opportunities for us to kind of take that framework to the next level. And that's what I see as a DAO, a decentralized autonomous organization that is governed by the blockchain. And so it's collectively owned and managed by its members. We are a group of people who come together around a common good. And we see DAOs as a vehicle for a collective group of members to advance cooperative economics and to collaboratively accumulate wealth together. And so within this Web3 world, we see decentralized autonomous organizations as kind of the evolution of cooperative practice. And so we see DAOs as a vehicle for a collective group of members to advance cooperative economics and to collaboratively accumulate wealth through decentralization and community. And so within this Web3 world, we see decentralization looking like utilizing the blockchain to, support our governance structures, to vote on different things, to do shared patronage when there's revenue generated. And everybody who contributes to the DAO receives the benefits of our collective works and efforts. And so we're very, very excited and very energized around this concept and this opportunity that Web3 presents to us. And our DAO, Disruptor DAO, our mission is to accelerate wealth building opportunities for Black and Brown women by strengthening our mindset and advancing education and investment in disruptive technologies. And so we are an inclusive community, welcoming allies and partners who are just committed to advancing wealth building opportunities for Black and Brown women in our communities.
So when you say advancing those opportunities for Black and Brown women, are you talking about businesses, real estate, NFTs, tokens? Tell me a little bit more exactly how you're transferring value, what you're bringing in, what's moving back and forth, and how it's getting utilized with the blockchain technology, let's say. Can you give us a couple of more specifics, just a little bit more?
Yeah, sure. So right now we have like 4 different areas of impact. We call them pillars of impact. And that's to educate. So educating on Web3 and blockchain literacy, and also mindfulness workshops, right? Because our whole mission is around creating wealth, right? And so we know that traditionally in our communities, we are Black women, but also there's a state of emergency for Black communities across the United States and really across the globe. And there are statistics out there that are like 76% of Black Americans and 62% of Latin Americans could get shut out or be underprepared for like 86% of the jobs that will exist in 2045. And so when we see statistics like that, we're like, oh my goodness, like we have to do something about this, so that, these data sets won't continue down this path. And we also know that there's another study that came out in 2013, where it said the median net worth for Black women, Black and Brown women, was $5 compared to, at the time, it was like $50K for that of our white women counterparts.
Wow.
They did that study again in 2019. And the median net worth for Black and Brown women was like $1,700 or something like that. But the median net worth for our white women counterparts was $85K. And so we still see those stark disparities, and we're like, we have to shift these narratives because we know that within our communities, we are the pillar of our tribe, right? We take care of our communities and we take care of our families. And if you tell one of us something, everybody knows it, right?
That's true.
So we're like, how do we shift these narratives? And so we're really, really, truly focused on educating. Education is at the foundation of the work that we do. And so we do a lot of education around like, what is Web3? What is this 5th industrial revolution? Why is this important? Why is it time to pay attention now? Because right now in history, we're living in like a once in a generation moment in history where we can define the future for our families around creating right now in the space of Web3. So we think about this in terms of like, the other industrial revolutions and, in the 1920s and such, when machine and factories were coming on board, that created tons of wealth and tons of opportunity for the owners of those industries, right? We're in that moment again now. The solutions and the technologies and the industries that are being created right now are just being created right now. And we have opportunities to do that.
So let me add a little bit to that, something a little bit more current for why I started pivoting to Web3 podcasts. So as I started doing my own little pivot and started looking and searching and learning, Intel is during my lifetime. And Intel, we ain't got to go back to the start of the Industrial Revolution. During my lifetime, Intel was happening and I didn't know what it was. I didn't understand it. I didn't realize I could have made an investment and doubled, tripled my money or be rich later. Only those that know, or those that are connected to those that know, or those in leadership positions and organizations, and you get it. I didn't know. A lot of us didn't know. So when I learned that and started really opening my mind to blockchain, NFTs, and what was happening in the Web3 environment, really pivoting to Web3 was to make sure we get mass adoption or people understand what's coming. So I've tried to structure this broadcast. I don't know if I've been successful or not, but we're getting quite a few downloads. The audience seems to be in tune and it's growing quite quickly. That it's important that everybody get their hands on the table, all hands on deck, because this is a major shift. And this is the time for us to capitalize on the opportunity and seize the opportunity and benefit as a people, as a country, as a nation. Everyone benefit. But more importantly, the underprivileged, the undeserved, the unbanked, and there's so many populations that are deserving to this opportunity. So I'm right there with you. So with your organization and all the women that you have and the classes and everything else, what keeps you up at night at this time? What are your concerns?
My concerns right now, well, again, goes back to education. I would like for everybody, right, to tune in, plug in. I kind of want to shake folks like, hey, this is happening right now. You got to
right, listen to this
right now.
Wake up, pay attention.
Right now. And so that we can see the opportunity, right? But so often, even talking to my, closest friends and family members, I'm like, what? Oh, whatever. But that's okay, right? Because, the mindset that we have within our DAO is that we are establishing ourselves to, be that space where people can come, receive information. We have a very, very hands-on approach. And one of our mantras is no woman left behind, no sister left behind.
All right.
So, we're teaching, coaching baseline stuff from like, what is a wallet? And then one of our advisors, who's also a co-founder, Alicia Holmes, and Disruptor DAO kind of was birthed out of her organization's journey to wealth, where we were all, during the pandemic, she started doing like these Innovation Thursday sessions where we just started learning about like different things coming on board because, we were introduced to the awareness that in times of the economic downturn, in times of, quote unquote, depression and things like that, that's when a lot of these major corporations, the name brands that we know today, were born out of those times of opportunity. And so she's really instilled in us a mindset for building wealth and the opportunities that we have. And I'm like, okay, how can we do this together, right? Because, it really takes a village and a tribe, and we can have greater success together than we can, trying to work in silos. And so that's the stance that we have. It's like, hey, come one, come all, educate, get some of these tools and resources, and see how we can grow and collectively build our ideas together.
So it sounds as if most of the time is with education and providing the tools and resources. Has there been any opportunities to utilize any smart contracts or NFTs in the DAO yet? Have you had any successful gamification? Is there anything in that nature you could share with the audience?
Yeah, so we are in the process of officially getting on chain. We're exploring what that looks like and what that will entail. But one of the things that we're really, really excited about and was excited about when it happened was that we participated in a hackathon last summer. And our core team, we're not coders. We're not techies. None of us came from the traditional technology space. A lot of us are, traditional business women, social workers, come from nonprofit spaces, artists, as such. And so we developed we had 2 teams that placed. We won first and third place on this global hackathon to create a solution for our communities. And one of those solutions was a gamified DApp called Evolve, where it's an educational tooling where, you're learning about Web3, you're learning about different concepts, and you're learning about, safely investing in Web3 and why this is important. And also mindset is a huge, huge piece to all of the work that we do, and understanding that you have to have a mindset for building wealth and releasing some of those blockages and things that happen, in our family ties that have been blocking us from receiving wealth. And so we put together this gamified DApp and are looking at ways of how to launch that. And so we're very, very excited for what that could be. So we're testing it out. We're building right now.
That's okay. It seems like you're in the process and you're going the right direction. I've heard of this hackathon. I can't remember exactly who. I was at a convention. There may be some of my colleagues that I'm around that really spearheaded the hackathon. It was a global experience. Is that correct? And there was like millions of.
It was. This one was hosted by Cradle and CoinDesk. It was the Web3-a-thon 2022 last year.
Oh, cool. Well, it sounds to me like you guys are on the right track, especially with the gamification, the hackathon, and everything that you're talking about. What about investments? How are they actually, after one uses the tools, learns everything, gets the education, there's the cooperative. Are there any masterminds or any type of groups that are actually investing and doing what they've learned? They know what to do. Are they learning the how to do and actually implementing?
Yes, we are. Disclaimer, we do not give financial advice.
Okay.
We do not encourage, do your own research. We're big on that. This is more so literacy around, giving folks toolings on what to look for in when you're preparing to invest. But we're right there together, looking at different opportunities together. And we have done some collective investing. We have launched another kind of arm of Disruptor DAO, where we initially pulled together some resources, because at the time we were looking at investing in the metaverse, but we're also looking at investing in, real world properties and things like that. So as I was mentioning earlier, there are like 4 main pillars: educate, invest, build, where we are looking at resources to transition our businesses from Web2 to Web3. And then give. We all have various philanthropic endeavors and things that we are really passionate about. And so looking at opportunities to advance innovation in underserved communities and things like that. So, and we've done some collective pooling for those type of endeavors as well. So yes, there's always opportunity to come together and give to the greater good within our tribe.
Is there anything else? Anything else you can share with us on what you've done and the initiatives and how they've turned out? Or was there anything that was a disappointment that kind of didn't go the way you thought it would, and then you had to make a quick turn and pivot to turn it around?
Yeah. So one of the things that we, I'm really grateful for, hindsight is, what they say, hindsight is 2020, is that we launched our DAO in June of 2022. So that was and that was during the DAO craze. I don't know if everybody remembers, like early 2022, DAOs were just popping up all over everywhere, and all these, really fun things were happening around DAOs. And so we launched within that flow as well. Okay. However, we did not quickly scale for several reasons. A, because we really want to do this right. Right? Meaning we want to have a solid business plan and business model. We want to have a clear pathway and offerings and value for, folks in our community to connect. And so at the time, there was a bit of FOMO. We were like, oh, we got to do this now. We got to do this now. And some things that we might have felt were failures then were definitely I guess you could say, blessings now, because we are on the right path to creating something really sustainable. And I feel as though, then a lot of things that we thought we wanted to do or could have done weren't necessarily the most sustainable or the best path to go in this. And Web3 is so new and ever changing. Like every single day is like something new and different. So kind of slowing down and not giving into that momentum that Web3 can kind of make you feel like you got to do this now. Things are happening so fast.
Right.
Not necessarily giving into that, but really being intentional, because we know that what we are creating, what we are co-creating together, blends that world of technology and real world solutions for people. And so we have to be able to kind of marry the two and be in a flow of our solutions and a flow of communicating to our friends and family and our tribe, keeping in mind that a lot of what's in the media is not, the media frowns upon essentially, the work that we're doing and Web3 and blockchain and crypto and stuff. So we are being very intentional, I should say, on this path.
So let me ask you a quick question. How is the media having a perspective that's not most becoming, let's say? Can you give some more insight on that? That's a real curious statement.
Yeah. Most of the the media.
I'm just getting used to DAOs. I'm one of those folks.
Okay.
I didn't know what was happening in 2022. Remember, I'm old girl. I'm old girl just coming back. She got some education. She had them big projects in the past, the electronic ticketing and all the stuff from before. She learned about Web3. She got a foot in Web2, and everybody's like, "Oh, you need to come out of retirement and help this little transition here." So educate me some.
Okay.
Some of the others on the environment, because you've given some insight that I haven't heard before in regards to DAOs. I knew the positives, pros and cons of NFTs and how brands kind of made some mistakes, not recognizing it's a Web3 environment and should be different. But can you drill down, I guess is what I'm asking, a little bit more with the DAOs when everybody was doing that in 2022 and how media has kind of fashioned or shaped the perspective of it? Because today we're living through right now a lot of manipulation of reality. So what's real and what's Memorex, as we used to call it back in the day?
Yeah. So the media, of course, is really heavily on downplaying or having crypto to have a bad rap, cryptocurrency to have a bad rap. We do not lead with cryptocurrency, right? I'm a person who believes that crypto is just a byproduct of the blockchain. I'm more
exactly.
And it's a byproduct, right? However, when people hear that's like, oh, Web3, is that cryptocurrency? Oh, that's not real. That's like they immediately associate with that. And we're like, yes, but no. There's so
and you're right.
much more.
That's why I'm here.
World.
I'm a blockchain girl. There's a lot of benefits to that.
There's tons of benefits with the blockchain. I'm a big component of the blockchain. I appreciate it very much, and the future and what it can, and a lot of the solutions that it can provide for us. And so that is what we're doing. We're dispelling those myths by providing awareness and insights into the other possibilities that this world can present outside of cryptocurrency, right? We're not leading with that at all. And so that's the piece that kind of sets us apart. And that's the myths that we are dispelling when we're, introducing ourselves to, kind of mainstream world. In that, like, no, this is not about cryptocurrency. Yes, we might talk about it a little bit, but this is more so about understanding the utilities of the DAO, the utility that the blockchain can present, and this expansive and transformative world that we're co-creating in.
So what was some of the utility of the blockchain technology that really attracted you that's working for the DAO that you really rely on? And are there any particular blockchains that you're working with?
No, not just yet. So we're currently in the process of vetting like which blockchain, which chain we want to build upon and such. But I really appreciate how it provides opportunities for everything to be transparent, for us to have a centralized place where we can vote, for us to have a centralized place where we can, we have a Gnosis wallet so we can all see it. And we can all, we can utilize that distributed ledger to see where things are going, to do payouts and things like that. It's, for me, within the DAO right now, it's really the operations
Peace.
of the DAO, the operations of the DAO, and the utility that the blockchain can provide for those type of things. Again, and thinking about co-ops and cooperative practice, the whole energy or the foundational energies around it is to have a space where, you know, people can vote, and that vote can be their voice, right? And so the blockchain provides that for DAOs. Essentially, once we're on chain, we can all go in on there and pitch our different proposals for what it is that we may want to do, or for a new concept or something we may want to do, and we can all vote on it, and it could be there and clear, all those types of things. And so really taking advantage of those type of utilities for the DAO right now are what I find most valuable in this present moment.
I find it very impressive that the DAO exists, and you're all of the disruptors, and as serious disruptors, as a co-founder as well. You guys are really doing it, because it's definitely there and it's a need. So my last question, I think, because I may have one tucked in the back that we started off with that I may circle back around to.
Okay.
But I think my last question really is, what is on your wish list based on where you've been, what you've seen, the perceptions, how everybody's working together, not working together, or what works, doesn't work, or what got out of control, or was a downward spiral, if there was. What is your wish list? You mentioned to us what keeps you up at night, but what is your wish list?
Yeah. I would love to see, well, and this is one of the visions within our DAO. We envision an autonomous ecosystem that is, would evolve into being a token economy where we are, doing business together.
Mhm.
We are doing collective investment together. We are building, physically and in virtual spaces together, and providing a kind of a hub of resources and tools where our tribe can come and say, hey, I can go here and get information about this, or hey, I can go here and learn about investing in disruptive technologies, or hey, I can go here and transform my, get resources and tools to transform my business into Web3. As I mentioned before, our co-team, we are not techies. None of us came from previous technology backgrounds. And so we really represent, that you don't have to be a techie to be in this space and to be, successful and to have a vision for this space, I should say. And so, creating a warm space for people to feel welcome, to get the tools and resources that they need, because we know that this is not going away. Blockchain's not going away. The byproducts of blockchain through cryptocurrency and tokenomics is not going away. And so we're really looking to establish as a place where people can be owners and builders in this space right now, and not consumers like we have been in other times of mass transition and innovation. And so that's what I envision, us having a centralized space where we can all grow and create wealth together.
So that's exciting. So how do people reach out and they connect with you? How do we do that?
So we are Disruptor DAO on all social media channels, on LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram. You can also go to disruptordao.io. We are also in Telegram, Disruptor DAO. So, just feel free to reach out to Disruptor DAO.
Okay. So lastly, this is really the last. Let's go back to what we were talking about in the beginning. So we can cut this part off, maybe, I don't know, but we're going to record it here at the end, because normally I end at that point with the
Okay.
how do they connect and everything. I'm really interested in the feedback, and you started providing me some feedback in the beginning, because it was a new idea. One, I needed to do an episode, and I was thinking about mixing some of the episodes as part of like a learning channel or a masterclass. And you kind of hit on the education piece, and that was the direction I was trying to go on the anatomy of a pivot, especially with the 40 years experience in corporate, having done cultural changes. I moved between the cracks. I've had to change myself different times due to different situations. I was interested in the feedback and how that communication landed. Maybe that's the old term, but how did it land? What was the perception of that episode? Did I do what I thought I was trying to do?
Yes, I was very excited to receive it. But you know what? I may be biased because you represent our DAO. Seriously, like a lot of our founding team is in that same flow with you. We have several ladies who retired from corporate, and who were retired from their day to day and are like, no, we got to do something different. I want to make a pivot. And we are co-creating and exploring and supporting one another on that journey, right? And so to hear your story was very, very inspiring because it shows, again, like, hey, we are one tribe. You come together and support one another. And then it also just represents opportunity for us to continue to build community together, really. So I was very inspired by your share.
Yeah, I was hoping I kind of came off in a, not that I kind of came off, that I did reflect in a way that was positive, that gave some nuggets and gave someone who wasn't sure what to do, how to do, especially coming out of retirement or having to make a change based on the past few years or just everything that's happening in the world right now. Everything is inside out, upside down. Nothing is what we thought it would be.
Exactly.
And I guess for me, being in this part of my life, what I call the fourth quarter or the third quarter, however you want to put it, I'm trying to, I guess I find this to be the most important thing that I could possibly do at this point in this moment in time is share the information I learned, because shifting from where I was and then stepping up into who I needed to be based on my background and then being successful in the pivot, then starting the podcast, I felt this would be a good place to share the information in a way where people can learn. I didn't want it so high level where people saw it and it was always developers and it was coders and they're talking and all this geek stuff and nobody understood it. So I've been trying to attract people like yourself and get support from people who are entrepreneurs, nonprofits, and those that can really benefit, including brands. I can't exclude the brands. I'm looking for the big foundations or some of the nonprofits. But I think if everybody works together, they can shape tomorrow together and we can have a positive outcome. Right now, you've got everybody doing their own thing, turning inward. Nobody's getting in the boat, getting the paddle and rowing at the same time for the same direction, and we blowed it. So I'm really glad to hear that. And I'm looking forward to possibly meeting some of these other women down the line.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's really been an eye-opener for me. I'm very impressed with what's happening with the DAO. I didn't know all these DAOs existed. I thought all this stuff was new. I mean, I thought it was just like starting now, not that it's been kind of happening through the years. When I met Israel, I was in a state of shock. So it's so much intelligence and so many endeavors and initiatives from day zero. And I learned so much in my own pivoting process. So it's been a blessing to meet you. I really appreciate the fact that we have connected. Hopefully I can have you back. And your co-founder, we'll talk to her and then maybe bring her back again to see what's going on with the DAO. Disruptor DAO. Is it the Disruptor or Disruptor DAO? What is the actual name? Disruptor DAO? Okay.
Yes, Disruptor DAO. Yeah, DAO, Disruptor DAO. Again, on all social media channels. And yes, Donna, we would definitely love to collaborate and see how we can do some great things together.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And support each other. So with that said, I'd like to thank Angelé. Did I say it right?
Yes, ma'am, you did.
Angelé? Well, I think it's a pretty name. So with that said, I'd like to thank Angelé for being with us from Disruptor DAO. This is Pivoting to Web3 podcast, and we're shaping tomorrow together. So thank you for joining us, and we're looking forward to serve you in the future. Have a nice day. Thanks for listening to Pivoting to Web3 at pivotingtoweb3.com. Make sure you hit the subscribe button so that it gets to you with every episode that comes out. We have lots of great opportunities, limitations, and downward spirals being revealed by our guests. And thank you in advance for all your reviews and comments. I appreciate you so much. I look forward to serving you in the next week's episode.